Hey everyone, how's it going? So you are riding along with Kenny. In case you guys are wondering, this is a rental car because we've been on vacation and back and forth and stuff like that. But one story that I've told this story before, but a lot of people like this story, so I figured I would just tell it again because I've gotten so many new subscribers over the last 6 months. It's just blown my mind, and it's a fun story. And if you know me, you'll completely understand this one. So when I had my shop, we were really big into the 5-liter Mustangs of the day. The Fox body Mustangs, the 1979 to 1993 body style. Roughly in 1986, 87 is when they really exploded and became popular. So we had built quite a number of Fox body Mustangs. And one of our cars actually would go 1030s at 133 miles an hour, which at the time was pretty darn fast. By today's standards, not so much, but back then, that was a pretty darn fast street car. But anyway, so one of the guys that worked with me, his name was Walter, and he had joined the Navy, so he was gone for 2 years. And when he got out of the Navy after 2 years, I think he went for 4. I don't remember now. But when he got out, it had to be 2 years when he came back, because then I think he went again, but I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, when he came back, he pulls in and he has a brand new 1993 Mustang GT. It was red with a gray interior, fully loaded GT, 5-speed. So he comes in and we happen to be standing outside, myself and Timmy are standing outside. And we're like, whoa, look at this thing. Oh, brand new. Brand new. It was brand new. I don't remember how many miles it had on it. 400, 500, whatever the heck it was at the time. It was brand new. So we open up the door and that, and then Timmy grabs him and rips him out of the driver's seat. And he's like, no, don't. So then Timmy hops in. And he's like, oh, I know what you guys are going to do. Please don't kill my car. So I get in the passenger seat. We'll see you later, Walter. So we take off with his car. And he's just shaking his head because he knows we're about to do burnouts and stuff with his car. So we're driving up the road. I just happened to pop open a glove box to look and see what was in there. Because what happened was I said, wouldn't it be great if you had a camera in this car? And that's when I popped the glove box. Sure enough, he had one of those disposable cameras. And back then, you didn't have cell phones. But people used to buy those disposable cameras. And once you used up all the film in there, you would just send the camera, the whole assembly in, and they would develop the pictures for you. So we went out to this one road that we used to always go on to do burnouts. So I got out and I said to Timmy, I said, okay, go ahead and you do a burnout when you see the flash of the camera, because I thought the flash would always go off on those things regardless, because they were disposable. Well, no, they were light sensitive also. I didn't realize that. So I said, when you see the flash, start going. In other words, start doing a burnout. He's going to do a brake burnout. When you start doing a burnout and you see the flash, then let go of the brakes and go. So I walk up the street a little bit, and he's at a slight angle on the street. And I was like, okay, go. So he starts doing a burnout, and he gets smoke pouring off the rear tires. And he's at a slight angle, so you can see the wheels cut just a little bit of a really, really cool angle. So smoke starts coming off the rear tires. So then I take a picture. Fast forward it. Take another picture. Fast forward. I'm like, why isn't he going? Take another picture. Fast forward it. Take another picture. So finally I put the camera on. I'm like, go. Now by this time, you almost couldn't see the car because there was so much smoke. And all you could hear is, wah! He's doing this burnout. So he lets go of the brakes. And he starts coming forward. And I'm taking pictures. And he goes past me with just smoke billowing off this car. I used up the rest of the roll, okay? I never actually drove the car. We get back, we pull in, I put the camera back in the glove box. And as soon as we get back, and he's like, oh, you guys killed my car. I can smell the burnt rubber. So we're like, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Your car is fine. So he gets in it. He was going home. He hadn't even been home yet. He stopped by the shop to show us the car that he bought when he got out of the Navy. So he was heading home to see his parents. See, we were more important than his parents at the time. So he was going home to see his parents. So we lean over the car and we said, oh, do us a favor, get the film developed that's in your camera. He's like, I don't have a camera. Yeah, you do in your glove box. Wait, what? Yeah, just get the film developed. Oh, man. So he doesn't know what we put on his camera, because we could have put anything on his camera. About, I don't know, this is when you had the 1 hour photos and stuff like that. So it was like maybe 3 or 4 hours later, the phone rings. Pick up the phone. Right post service. And all of a sudden I hear, you mother! You guys, blah, 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 my car. And I'm like holding the phone out like this, and Timmy's right there, and he can hear it. And he starts cracking up laughing. And then, like, those are brand new tires. It's a brand new car. And he's screaming his head off. And all of a sudden there's a pause. And he goes, I'm going to have this one picture framed and put on my wall. He goes, it's absolutely awesome. So he did. He actually had one picture where the car is sideways with smoke pouring off. It looked like a Top Fuel funny car with just smoke billowing off the tires. It was the picture came out really good. He actually did frame it and put it on his wall. That's how good that picture came out. So I just thought that was pretty darn funny. But yeah, we were kind of known for that. Like, if you had one of those cars, we would put it through the ringer. And whenever we would go to the track, we would have other people ask us to take their cars down the track, because we knew how to drive those cars. I don't want to put ourselves up on a pedestal, but we were pretty good with driving them. We knew the ins and outs of them. So a lot of people would have us drive their cars for them. And just because we could make them go faster than they could, oddly enough, it boils down to the driver. So one other story I wanted to share with you, which I've never shared with you, I'd actually forgotten all about this. One of my friends, John Rodriguez from Rye, he actually worked for me. He had a 5-liter Capri, if you remember those cars. And I was just pointing out to Meg some cars on a trailer here. One of those stupid squatted cars with the wheels kicked out. Anyway, so he had a 5-liter Mercury Capri, carbureted, and the car ran pretty good. He wound up in a really bad accident with it. He hit a tree, and he got pretty badly hurt. Luckily it wasn't permanent, but he got pretty badly hurt at the time. Car was totaled. But anyway, so after that, he wound up with a 78 Toyota Celica. He wanted a Mustang, but at the time, it was the only thing available to him, so he wound up buying this Toyota Celica. So he was, and a 78 Toyota Celica, it was brown, and those were rear-wheel drive. So he got to a point where he was able to buy another Mustang. So he bought another Mustang, so he still had the Toyota, and he was using it back and forth to school. He used to sit at the shop quite a bit. So one day I'm there at the shop, and one of my other customers had a Ford Granada with a 302 in it and a C4 automatic, and it was a 2-barrel car, but it ran good. I don't remember the reason that he gave the car to me. He gave it to me for some reason. I think the rear end might have blown on it. It was something like that, but the motor and tranny was fine. It ran great. So I just kind of kept it sitting there in case I needed an engine transmission for something. So one day, Johnny and I were out there and we were talking, and this was after I had built that Volvo. So I don't know, something came up and they're like, I wonder if we put a 302 in this Toyota Celica. So at that point, I decided, like, we walked over and we're looking at it, and they're like, well, we got the Granada. So we looked at the Granada. We're like, huh, maybe it'll fit. It looks like you got enough room. So he pulled the engine and tranny out of the Celica. Now, it was a stick when we wound up making an automatic. Or no, it was an automatic car. It was an automatic car. So he did that. I pulled the engine and transmission out of the Ford, and we test fitted inside, and it wouldn't fit because the design of the oil pan, it would actually hit the cross member. So, in my infinite wisdom, I just took a Sawzall and cut the front cross member, cut a whole section out of the middle of it with a Sawzall. And of course, the motor fit in it perfectly at that point. So then once the motor was in and we made mounts to fit it in place, then we put the car up in the air, because that front cross member, without it in place, the frame rails would twist and the cross member would do this and the wheels would kick out. So, but I mean, this was just in the parking lot where we were like pushing it around and stuff like that when it wasn't mobile yet, like drivable. So we got it up on a lift. I got the gap correct on the cross member, and then I actually added a lower section to it, so this way it would clear the oil pan in that. And it actually worked out pretty darn good. So we got it all up and running, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I made the drive shaft work. What I wound up doing was I took the Ford Granada drive shaft and I cut it off at one of the yokes, and I managed to weld it to the Toyota end, and it worked out pretty good. You know, it really didn't vibrate all that much. I mean, it was maybe a little bit, but for just doing it in the garage, like as a quickie, cheap little thing, let's see what we can do type of thing, I think we may have actually gone and had a drive shaft shop make a drive shaft for it after that. I don't recall, but I think we probably did. But we got this thing up and running with exhaust manifolds and just dump tubes and stuff like that. And this thing was a burnout machine. I mean, this thing would do burnouts all day long, because the motor wasn't super powerful. It did have a pretty good amount of torque though. And that little Toyota would just ignite the right rear tire, because it was a one-legger. It would just ignite the right rear tire. And I told him, I said, Johnny, don't keep doing burnouts with this thing, because you're just going to blow that rear end to smithereens. So sure enough, eventually he grenaded the rear end out of it, and he wound up selling it to some guy in the neighboring town, and the guy in the neighboring town wound up putting a 488 in it, or a 9-inch. I think he put a 488 in it, and he actually, you know, drove that thing around for quite a while. It was a good running car. It was, you know, the engine was stock, but you think about it, I mean, that Ford Granada engine probably only made 165 horsepower, but it was probably double what that Toyota Celica motor engine made. So, but yeah, I thought I'd share that with you. It was just funny. Oh, what we wound up doing with the exhaust too, if I'm not mistaken, we actually put the exhaust manifolds on backwards, so they faced forward, and then dropped them down and around in order to clear, because there was no clearance towards the back at the firewall end. So, but yeah, it was just kind of cool. And like, we had that Volvo, we had that Corolla. It was actually pretty good. So anyway, just thought I'd share those stories with you. All right, guys. I hope you got something out of that. Hope you had fun with that. I did. Reminiscing is always fun. All right, guys. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.